How you doing? Hello. Come on in. Let's talk. So, good to be back on a thought for your process. Wanted to share something with you for those of you who need to be encouraged. Wanted to chat with you about getting on the bus. And y'all know me. I'm Adam Watson. I am the guru for your greatness. I am called to motivate the motionless. Yes, that's what I do. So let's talk about it, shall we? I need to say this first. This is for those of you who caught my friend Pastor Crystal Brown, caught her vibe this morning, early in the morning. We did not set this up. This was not planned. She got up talking about her thing. I got up, planned my thing, and then after catching her thing around 11 o'clock this morning, I almost didn't want to do mine. I almost wanted to change it. But I feel like the confirmation of the two flows is really going to help you. I'm going to steal her definition to use later on. But for right now, I hope that you're doing well. I got some major announcements because we are finally ready to go. I had taken a break because there were some things that needed to be fixed and put together properly and with the spirit of excellence. And I was challenged to see whether I loved my baby enough to wait. Did I love my baby enough to pull back and really nurture my baby and make sure that everything was together? You know, when a bird, they take a moment and they have to nest and they have to sit down for a minute and settle themselves while they develop what is going to be their pride and joy. And we have been working diligently to bring you a product that was not just thrown together and smashed together, but a product that is truly worth your time and effort to be a part of, something that is going to give you value and show you how much we appreciate you. So we'll talk about all that later. Today I want to talk about getting on the bus. I want to talk about getting on the bus because there's so many people here who are stuck. You know, the beginning of the year, everybody has these New Year's resolutions, and I talked about it before, how the New Year's resolution is a lie, in that it's designed to try to get you motivated for something that's only going to last you about a month or two. But a lot of people don't understand that on the heels of the month of January, as you get towards the end of January, the struggles and the lies from October, November, and December, they creep up into the new year and try to pull you back. And if they can kill you or halt your movement within those first 30 to 45 days, then you feel like a failure. And for some of us, it absolutely demoralizes us for the next 3, 4, 5 months. And so I wanted to wait until June and make sure make sure that I had everything ready by June, so that I can begin to share this with you to launch you to the rest of the year. Why? Because it's important to me that you get to the rest of your year. So let's talk about getting on the bus. I am from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Shout outs to Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and those in the surrounding communities. I love you so much. I live in San Diego, California right now, but I'm from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. And in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, when we were growing up, everybody sees it as a town, but we did have mass transit. And so sometimes, you know, well, for those of us who lived in the Ville, Penn Village, what's going on? Bright Hope now. We would catch the bus to school. And then for those of us who didn't want to catch the bus back to the Ville, we could take the town bus, which meant that we had to walk from Franklin Street, which was where the middle school is, all the way down to High Street to catch our bus. We had to catch the bus because walking from the middle school all the way back to Penn Village was not fun, unless you had people with you and you were having a good time. So some of us, we find ourselves at bus stops right now. We find ourselves at a bus stop because we are connected to a community. Now, there's nothing wrong with being connected to a community, okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with being connected to your community. A lot of us, though, would rather be driving our own car. We don't want to be riding on the bus, because riding on the bus means that we're not the only people who the bus has to drop off. And so that's the one thing. We'd rather be driving in our car so that we can get straight from point A to point B by ourselves, no struggles, no problems at all. The other problem is that not just getting from point A to point B, but having to ride along with people who are going in the same direction. And because a lot of us, and I'm talking right now to my people who have dreams, my entrepreneurs, I'm talking to you because you spent so much time trying to tell people what you wanted to do, trying to tell people how you wanted to live, trying to tell people about the dreams that you had for your life. And most of the time you found people who were cynical, and they were dream killers or dream stealers, and tried to tell you that you would never get to where you wanted to get to unless you went one way or the other. And because of that, because you had nobody that was willing to breathe life into your dream, or support it, or even fuel you into your dream, you decided that you'd rather go alone. You know what that's like? That's like being at the bus stop and you keep on looking down the street and you're waiting on your bus to come, and you get tired of waiting on your bus to come, and then you start wishing that you had a car so you can go there on your own. And then you start walking. You start walking because you get tired of being at this stop. As you move, you get tired of being at this stop, so you decide that you're going to move to the next stop, because maybe by moving to the next stop, the bus would have come. But then the bus does not come, and so you decide to move to the next stop. And before you know it, you've walked 6 or 7 lights trying to not be frustrated at the fact that your bus has not come. Let me pause right there, because I'm going to be coming from 2 directions tonight. And if you take notes, I promise you that this is going to give you strength to get through the next couple of months. Number 1, the bus was designed because there was a need. There was a need because there were too many people who did not have one-on-one transportation to get to point A from point A to point B. And so mass transit was designed, like a train, was designed in order to get a gang of people from, or a group of people, or a community of people from one stop to the next. So you don't really want to hate on the community process, because I promise you, if you take a moment, you're going to find out that there are a lot of people who are going the same direction that you're going, with the same problems and struggles that you have. And if you take a moment and talk to those people, or find out who those people are, you're going to find out that you found a second family that may not look like you, may not be your same gender or your same ethnicity, same color, demographic, or culture, or have your cultural barriers. But you are going to find somebody who has a passion just like yours, somebody who maybe you can activate, somebody whose life you can activate, or somebody whose story can activate yours. So you're looking for a community of people. That's I want you to make note of that. I'm looking for a community of people who feel the way I feel, who have the same passion that I have, who want to change lives the same way I change lives. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so you're looking for a community of people. Now, Here's the problem with the bus. Is so many of us have been desensitized, or we've been thrown off to the thought process of the bus. We've been thrown off to the thought process of everybody or a community of people going in the same direction. Why? Because so many times when we run into a community of people, we've been pre-programmed to see that this community of people, they are stubborn, or they're murmuring and complaining. Their DNA is negative. You know what I mean? Their DNA is negative. And because their DNA is negative, we don't want to be around anybody. We don't want to talk to people who have more, who speak more of their problems than their solutions, more of their fear of their failure than their passion for their promise. And because of that, we would much rather go it alone. But there's a problem with going alone. So back to the bus. We're on a bus. We're waiting for the bus. And because we get tired, we get down to the 8th or the 9th or the 10th block, and we're tired of riding on the bus. You know what we do? We call a cab. We call a cab, or we call a friend and ask them to come get us and tell them that we'll front their gas. But here's the problem. If we just wait a little bit longer, the bus is still coming. See, what happens is if you take the bus, you can get a bus pass for the entire ride, or even for the whole day, for a fraction of the price. But if you ask your friend and ask them to come get you, you're probably going to pay way more than the price that you would have paid to get from point A to point B. Or if you catch a cab, you're going to pay more per mile than you would have had to pay had you just waited on a bus. And what happens a lot of times is once we made that phone call, either to the bus or called our friend, a few minutes after that, we look down and here comes the bus. And the bus is going our direction. And we've had to pay more money because we didn't want to wait to be a part of the community. Now, earlier today, I had this whole thing planned out, and I was going to talk about being patient to either wait on the bus, because the bus is coming with a community of people who have the same story that you have. I'm going to say it one more time. The bus is coming, and along with the bus is coming a community of people who have the same story that you have. And if you wait, then when you get on the bus, you're going to find that a lot of them have the same frustrations and the same passion for getting to the same location or going in the same direction that you were going on. If you just wait. And then some of us, instead of catching the bus and deciding, some of us are getting tired of waiting on the bus. And so instead of doing that, or calling a cab, or calling a friend, maybe we need to walk. Maybe we need to walk. Maybe we need to go a lot slower than the bus. If you've ever had to walk instead of take a bus, you'll notice that you think a lot more when you're walking. You might be frustrated. While you're walking. I just got something that was really good. You might be frustrated while you're walking, but at least you know that you're going to get there. See, your feet are still going to get you to the same direction that the bus would have gotten you to. But there is a hashtag. Before I hit my point, I want to throw this in. If you've ever decided to walk, have you ever been between stops? You've been between stops. You've been in between the place where you left and the place where you're heading. So you're in between the stop you left and the stop where you're heading. And then here comes the bus. Now here comes the bus. And you're like, oh my God. And so now you're trying to run to the next stop because you You didn't move fast enough or quickly enough between stops. I've been there. I've been there where I left one place and I was heading towards another, but I wasn't moving fast enough and I missed the bus altogether. I got you. I got you all the way. I got you if you decided you didn't want to ride the school bus home and you wanted to ride mass transit so you could hang with your friends. I got you if you decided that you wanted to catch mass transit, but while you were walking down to the stop, the bus came and passed you. I got you if you got to the bus stop and you're waiting forever for the bus to come, and now you're walking from stop to stop, stop to stop, while you're waiting on that bus to come. I got you if you're between stops. I got you if you've decided to walk. I got you, because we've all been there if you've ever rode the bus. Now, let's get to my point. Here's the problem. The bus is on a schedule. The bus is on a schedule, y'all. It's on a schedule. It has people it has to pick up. Just like you. It has a story of people. It has to pick up people with stories. But it was delayed either because the driver had a story, or it was delayed because the people or the passengers had a story. And the bus is at the mercy of the driver and the passengers, who all have stories. They all have stories, and sometimes we don't have the patience to think and put ourselves in the shoes of the passengers who are coming. So once you get on the bus, you might find out that the bus had to pick up 2 or 3 people, and when you get on, the bus driver is apologizing because he had to pick up 2 or 3 handicapped people, and so he had, you know how they had to do it, how they had to help the handicapped people or the disabled people get on the bus. That's the story. You might have a mom who has multiple children. That's the story. And sometimes we have to be cognizant of the fact that the bus is holding a bunch of stories with people who are going the same direction. So sometimes we just need to wait, because the bus is on a schedule. The bus is guaranteed to come where you are if we would just wait. And sometimes we are delayed because the bus is on a schedule. Sometimes we're delayed because the bus says, listen, because I'm carrying so many different people, I can't rush. I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself to be the bus. Because your vision is so important, because your vision is so large, because your vision is so huge, you may not be able to move as fast as everybody else. Some people are only interested in moving 100 people or 1,000 people, and having this 100 or this 1,000 people fuel them for the next few years. But if you are designed and if you are coded for success and coded for maximum impact, then you can't go as fast as everybody else. Sometimes you have to go slow. For instance, if you run a high school, if you're running a high school, it's very easy to give instructions to freshmen through seniors about what the schedule is going to be for the next day. However, if you are running a daycare, or pre-K program or kindergarten or an elementary school, because you have to move younger people who don't understand your language, who can't be activated by your voice as easily as the older ones can, sometimes you have to take your time. And sometimes because you're being programmed for success and you're pre-coded for success, you can't run with everybody else and you can't move as fast as everybody else. Sometimes you have to take a break and slow down. Sometimes you have to do your research so that you know where you're going and you know how to get there. Some things take time. Some things can't be rushed. And because certain things can't be rushed, ladies and gentlemen, you have to enforce this word upon your life. This word is called patience. You have to learn how to be patient. The Holy Scripture says, let patience have its perfect work. Now, I told you, a friend of mine, Crystal Brown, look her up. Shout outs to her. This morning she was up and she was talking about the word patience, and she defined it. And when you look up the word patience, it means to tolerate delay. This is so good. I wanna make sure that I read this from the standpoint, so I don't want to be wrong. So I want to make sure that I do this exactly right. The word patient means to be able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Like I said, me and Crystal didn't talk. We didn't chat, but we were on the same page for our training today. So watch this, y'all. Patient. To be patient means to be able to accept or to tolerate delays, problems, or sufferings without becoming annoyed or anxious. Now, I've just lost 99% of the people who are going to watch this video feed. Why? Because most of us can accept delays, problems, or suffering, but we can't do it without becoming annoyed or anxious. Why am I being delayed? I got things I got to do. And the problem with being delayed is because normally we've pre-planned our next move. And because we've pre-planned our next move, it's very difficult not to get anxious. We got plans, and our plans are on a schedule. And so we want this thing to be on time because we want to be on time for this next event. But you're going to have to be patient. Be patient. Isn't your baby worth it? Isn't your plan or your dream worth it? It's worth it. It's so worth it. It's worth, your success is worth your delay. If you would just give it the time to grow. You know, when you watch a mother gets pregnant and it takes time. There is a planned time for this baby, 40 weeks. Everybody says 9 months, but it's 40 weeks for the baby to come out healthy and grown and nurtured and ready for life. Ready for life. But it's going to take that time. And you'll notice that the mom at some points, and sometimes the father, if they're getting anxious or frustrated, they're like, oh my God, 5-6 months in, I'm so ready to have this baby. I'm so ready to push this baby out. I'm so ready for the baby to be here, because the baby in its growing and its nurturing state is making the mother and the father uncomfortable. They're losing sleep because the baby is growing. They're losing sleep because the baby is kicking and pushing, and you can see the baby starting to fill out. Woo! Yes, you see the baby starting to feel its way out, and you can see the handprint of the baby on the mother's stomach, and sometimes the baby is swinging and kicking and all this stuff, and sitting on the mother's bladder and turning and doing all these things because the baby is trying to figure out its surroundings in this space, and the mother is understanding that the baby is outgrowing its present environment. And so at some point, the baby is going to shift. The water's going to break, and I hope that you're hearing me. The water's going to break, and the baby's going to shift in order to come from the world it's used to the world that is closing in on them, to the world where there is more than enough room. And I want to tell you that your baby is about to break forth from the place inside of you where it is running out of room. It's taking up all the space in your mind. It's taking up all the space in your thought process, because you know it's time for this baby to be born. But this baby is about to be born. This baby is about to be born into a place and into a state where there is more than enough room for it to grow. It's more than enough room for it to stretch out. Science tells us that a woman is no more closer to death than it is when she is giving birth. And that makes perfect sense, Because sometimes you are so overwhelmed by the situation you're dealing with. Sometimes you are so overwhelmed by the dream that's inside of you and the vision that's inside of you that you feel like, if I don't get this out of me, it's going to kill me. This is killing me. I'm dying here. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because you're waiting for this baby to spread its wings and fly. You know that this baby is going to be okay once it gets here, but it's your job to push. So what do you do when you feel the pressure? Push. And what does the doctor say when you're tired of pushing? Push. What does the doctor say when you say you can't push no more? Push. I don't want to hear your crying. I don't want to hear your moaning. Listen, what's more important than you being tired is this baby getting from one world to the next. And so I need you to push. I need you to bear down and push. Push with me this summer. Push with me for the rest of the year. Oh my God, it's going to be so incredible and so exciting that if you don't get tired of pushing, you're going to push something beautiful and something phenomenal into this place we call purpose, into this place we call destiny. Yes. I hope that you enjoyed that. So get on the bus. Listen, get on the bus with us. We are a community of people who are tired of the status quo. We're tired of living one way and living beneath our privileges, but wanting money to answer problems and to help people and to help families on that next level. It's time to get to that next level. You coming with me? Yeah. You're phenomenal. You are an event that is about to happen. As an event, you have to happen. If you don't happen, your family can't move. Your family can't get free. Decide today to sell out and see the rest of your future and the rest of your world. That world may not have seen you yet, but it will never forget you. It's time to be alert. You will not miss a thing. Your mind is ready. Your focus is set. We're ready to go. Let's go. I hope that you enjoyed this. This is 30 minutes of your time. Thank you so much. I got some things I got to share with you by the end of the week. It's going to be a game changer. Keep your schedule open for the second week of August. Keep your schedule open for the second week in August. See you soon. You're amazing. I'm sticking to that and I'm not taking it back. Your phenomenal genius will be followed by your phenomenal success.